Hello guys, it's Melissa. So I wanted to just pop in on a Sunday evening for so many of you. I am in Australia, 12 noon, and it is sunny and wonderful. But as a true New Yorker, I still can't wrap my head around the whole it's February and I'm wearing summer clothes. Super weird. So I wanted to just jump in and share something that was on my heart. So here's the thing. I have taken notice that there's all this conversation around the Great Resignation. And what's interesting to me is I've had so many conversations with people who honestly were waiting for this moment. It's kind of like, holy crap, I've been wanting to leave my employer for a really long time. More often than not, a lot of individuals have had that thought on their mind, but it's been so scary to make the leap. And so I want to say, I'm freaking proud of you if you decided to resign. I'm crazy proud of you. I am proud of you if you decided to literally say to an employer, peace out. I'm done with this. I don't deserve this. I have been given my heart, my soul, my mind, my health to you, and this is no longer okay. That takes bravery. That takes a ton of bravery. And I say this because I know right now, if that was you, if you resigned, you want to resign, or it's been some time now that you have no longer been working, I know that the ground might feel super wobbly right now. If you just got out of a scenario where everything was very predictable, and obviously not everything, because you were working with a lot of other humans that are pretty unpredictable, but these were predictable, right? You had a route to work, you would get your coffee in a particular place, you knew what to expect during those weekly meetings that were check-ins or sometimes cover your ass meetings. And it was you understood kind of what was expected, and whether you wanted to perform or not, you did. And so going from a place where you had a sense of what you needed to do every single day and how you needed to be every single moment to the best of your ability, it's hard if you're in a spot right now where you're just holy crap, I have this week ahead of me. Obviously, if you're someone that has responsibilities, which is all of us, but if you're a parent or you're a caretaker to someone that's elderly, let's say, you still have a lot. It's not like you just completely wiped the slate clean and now you have a path ahead where you know that you'll have a chance to breathe. And so I want to offer you an opportunity. Here's where I'm going with this. So I don't know if I was thinking about old school Nintendo, and I think there was a reset button, but what I want to offer to every single one of you that's watching me right now is an opportunity for a reset. Take 15 minutes with me, hop on Zoom, and really just tell me what's on your heart. What is on your heart? What has you feeling a little stuck or uneasy if you've resigned or you want to or you intend to? And the reason why I think it's important is because this is your shot, man. This is your shot. This is your shot. And I don't think so many people realize this. You have a choice. You have a choice to make right here, right now. You get to either do more of the same and just go back to the same sort of place that you came from, or you have an opportunity to carve out a path that has not been laid out so neatly in front of you. You have a shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link for you, and you'll be able to choose in terms of a reset free, totally free session with me, okay? So this is no BS. You get to tell me what it is that you're struggling with right now following a resignation. What is on your mind? What is it that you are concerned about, right? So a lot of times we really get caught up in this fear of making a mistake, fear of failure, fear of what are people going to say if I just made such a bold move, leaving my employer, and now I get into a place that I don't like again, right? That would be some crap to have to deal with, right? Because you feel like you have to explain yourself to people. And I think what's important to do when you're in that moment of a reset, what's important to do when you're in that moment where you actually have a choice as to whether or not your future looks just like your past, except a different place, you actually need to really take a step back and evaluate what's on your heart, not just what's in your bank account. You need to really, really give it some thought in terms of who you want to be, how you want to show up, and what you would like to include in your daily sort of life. What you would like to include in your, everyday sort of experience in terms of your own emotional landscape, right? So that's taking it to another level. And I would say, how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel every single week? What I've heard from so many people for a decade now, and these are individuals who they look like they've got everything together, or they look like they are completely satisfied with where they are in life. What I have noticed is a lot of times they just have a hard time really just, putting into intention what they want to feel and how they want to be treated and the way that they want to be seen. And a lot of times what happens is you really just are unaware that some of the habits and the predictable behaviors that you are doing are really just on autopilot. And they're really just a function of prior experiences. So all of that to say, what I would suggest you do, and I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the comments here. I'm going to put a link where you can schedule a 15-minute reset session with me. During that time, what you're going to understand is what next step should you take? What sort of questions should you ask so that you can make progress in any direction that you desire? Here's where I'm going with this. If you told me, Melissa, I once worked for an organization. Let's take you, Murray, since you're on live. Hey, Murray. Let's imagine you work for a nonprofit. Let's say you work in the C-suite. And let's say all of a sudden your heart's desire was to be some sort of online entrepreneur. Let's just imagine you wanted to take all of your insights and wisdom that you've garnered having worked for other people, even though you've been an entrepreneur in the past, and you wanted to now somehow translate that to an online environment and platform. So if that's you as an example, then what should your next step be? What sort of questions should you be asking this week so that you make some progress and you get to a place where you can decide with clarity of mind and also clarity of thought what needs to happen next? Right? So a lot of people, they've resigned. A lot of people, they feel like either the rug has been pulled out from under them, even if you did this by choice. And what's important, if this is you, is that you just have at least one thing you can do, one action step. Hey, James. So what I think is really important is come to the reset session. I'm like twisting my tongue all over the place, and bring me your stuckness. Like, where are you stuck? What do you want to accomplish next? What is the step that you must take in order to actually make progress towards that direction? To gather data, because that's what a lot of times, a lot of individuals who have always worked for an organization hesitate doing when it comes to their next step. I would like to think that this can be an internal mental gymnastics exercise where you just contemplate what your next step should be by yourself, to yourself, without letting anyone else in except maybe a partner or a loved one. But the truth of the matter is, from an entrepreneurial perspective, you get a lot more information if you start executing, even if you do this imperfectly. So with regards to that sort of idea, right? So let's say you're in a nonprofit and now you want to go and create some sort of entrepreneurial venture, still kind of in light of that big mission, but online platform. What should your next step be? Maybe your next step is to start researching, amassing a list, I'm making this up, of 10 online platforms that tackle or touch your mission. So if the mission is to help, and I'm making this up, underrepresented minorities get full scholarships to, Ivy League organizations, totally making it up. If there is an organization like that, let me know. I have 3 children. But if that is your mission, then you just start peeling away and figuring out who else is tackling that mission, right? What organizations exist? Great. Then think to yourself, might they need some sort of online platform capabilities that you could then provide? That's just one way of looking at it. There's 1,000 ways of really approaching what your best next move is. And so then once you start amassing that list, what your next step would be this exact week is to start calling people on that list, right? And I know that feels like uncomfortable because you might not be ready if that's your scenario. However, that's how you get the data. You really get the data because then you start figuring out, do I want to be around these sort of people? Do I want to have these sort of conversations? What are their struggles? What are some things that, I might not have been ready for because I've only worked in a corporate environment or in a place that's been established, has some sort of major endowment, whatever the case might be. So it's about your next step. I want to invite you to schedule a reset session with me. They're 15 minutes. It is totally free, and I'm going to put the link in the comments field so that this way you can schedule time with me. So Murray, James, whomever else is falling in this realm and you resigned, if you have resigned and you are unsure about your best next step, schedule that 15-minute reset session with me. And let's get down to what needs to happen next week so that this way you can feel like you're making progress and you're gathering the right data that's going to help you make a better decision so that this way you don't feel like you've made a mistake. Because resigning, that's so courageous and bold. And I think that should be so celebrated. I know it's going to sound so weird because there's no HR person that's going to be like, oh my God, go you resign because you're making my numbers look bad from a retention perspective. But I'm not in HR. So I can tell you exactly what's on my heart. And what is on my heart is that if you have resigned, you are courageous and your time is now to take a next move. Your time is now to be bold. So go ahead and schedule 15 minutes with me. It is free. It is a reset session. And the idea, the mission, the ambition of that reset session is to get you from unstuck, unclear to I know what I need to do next week in very tangible ways. Okay? All right, I will leave you with that thought, and right after this, I'll go ahead and I will pop in the details for the reset session, and I'll also add it to the link in my bio. Melissa Lorena, have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you for your time.